Okay. Okay, so in this Clemmensen reduction reaction, what we do is we take a carbonyl compound, mostly a ketone, or it could be an aldehyde, and then we take zinc amalgam in presence of concentrated HCl. So you get the reduced product RCH2R. So the CO group is now replaced with CH2 group. Okay. Yeah, if it is not audible or something, then you can let me know. Okay, so how this mechanism, what is the mechanism for this reaction? As I said that this zinc, it very efficiently wants to give away its electron. Okay, so, and it forms zinc 2 positive very easily. So we take this concentrated HCl medium and the ketone, the oxygen lone pairs take this proton first to form this protonated form. This carbon then becomes a little bit electron deficient in nature. So the zinc that is present in the reaction medium forms zinc 2 positive and 2 electron. This 2 electron is then transferred to this carbon. So this carbon generates a negative charge and this double bond goes away. So this negative charge then takes abstract a proton to reduce it in one time. Okay, it is R2CH and OH. But then it is again there is a concentrated HCl present in the medium. So it protonates this OH to form OH2 plus, which is a very good leaving group. So it leaves, so minus water. So it forms R2CH plus. Again another atom of zinc gives 2 electron to this CH plus. Okay, and then this CH plus converts into CH minus because it takes these electrons. This CH minus then picks up one proton to form this R2CH2. That's the reduced product. Okay. The mechanism is not very difficult. Only 2 times electron it has to give. 1 times here, 1 times here. So that it converts from R2CO to R2CH2. Okay. So this Clemmensen reduction takes place in highly acidic media. We will see another reaction where which is a little bit mild. So I said this reaction is a little bit violent or little bit aggressive. But let's consider some. Okay, before that we will give some example, and after that we will go into the next reaction. Okay, I'll continue this discussion after these examples. So okay. So then it is very simple. You take acetophenone and then you take zinc mercury amalgam and it will immediately reduce this carbonyl compound in order to form CH2CH3. Very straightforward. Yeah, what I wanted to mention is this, because this reaction is very much violent in nature, the condition is very harsh. It can even reduce the cyclic ketal protections. So generally you might think that if you have a carbonyl compound here and here, if you protect it here, only this open CO will be reduced and this will remain unprotected. This will remain unaffected is not the case if you use Clemmensen reduction. So this condition, this will also be reduced. Okay. So first this carbonyl carbon C double bond O, this will be reduced and then actually it will come to this one. So the mechanism is somewhat like this. So you have this zinc amalgam in presence of concentrated HCl. So this oxygen will again take up a proton to protonate and then this electronic charge can attack here to form this negative charge. And then again this will take up the proton and similarly one more time the same reaction will give the same product. You can think of this mechanism, or else you can also think of a mechanism that this is present in concentrated HCl medium. If there is a water or moisture, then this ketal will be first hydrolyzed and then followed by reduction of the 2-carbonyl carbon. Both are actually okay. So basically this is the, as you know, in organic chemistry we find the product and then we try to give a most plausible mechanism. So no mechanisms are absolutely correct, but they are the most plausible one, most proposed one. Okay, mostly towards to the actual one. Okay, but nobody can say that this is exactly happening. So this is kind of a mechanism that has been proposed for this reaction. Okay. The next example is actually very interesting. It also comes in many exams. In this case, they take dimidone. This compound is known as dimidone, and you will later on you will see the synthesis of this compound towards the end of this course. You will be seeing that we will synthesize this compound. This compound is actually a very important compound. Now, if this compound is treated with zinc amalgam in presence of concentrated HCl, you will see that this compound produces this one. So how do they produce this compound? People have addressed its mechanistic analysis and found few intermediates. Based on those intermediates, they proposed this kind of mechanism. Got it? Clear? So what is the question? Question is that when we take dimidone and make it to react in zinc amalgam concentrated HCl medium, it produces this compound. How do they produce? So basically one of these carbonyl carbon will first attract 2 electrons from the zinc amalgam and it will be protonated, of course, like the last time. Once it takes these 2 electrons and take 1 proton here, it will be OH and negative charge, like this case. Like in this case, it will form OH and a negative charge. Correct? Now this negative charge will then attack to this carbonyl carbon. Okay? So that you get a bond from here to here. That is what has been happened here. And it takes again a proton from the medium. Now this proton will protonate any of this OH, for example this one, to form OH2 plus, which becomes a good leaving group. Then this bond again comes back. In this case, this bond breaks. Okay, so that you get double bond OH plus and double bond CH2. Eventually, it's a double bond O and double bond CH2. Now it has been seen that these double bonds are actually more reactive in this scenario for this in this reaction condition. Okay, for the reduction and hydrogenation case, the double bonds are becoming are shown to be more reactive. So these 2 electrons are taken up by this double bond, and this CH2 minus that will generate can take up 1 proton from the medium, because you have considered HCl medium, to generate this compound. And it has been found that this compound becomes so stable that it does not undergo further, at least in that condition. Okay, so that is how this compound is generated. Okay, clear everybody up to this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what we are saying previously, that Clemmensen reduction is a bit in a harsh condition. Okay, very strong condition reaction. So we also need sometimes little bit milder condition, because as you saw that it is not selective anymore. It can reduce everything. Maybe you do not want that, right? Maybe in some reaction you want only one CO to be reduced, not both. That is the first reason. Second reason is this reaction happens in a acidic medium, concentrated HCl medium. let's say in your molecule, not this molecule, maybe some other molecule, you have an acid labile group that you cannot put in acidic medium. You need probably basic medium to do the reaction. That time you cannot use this Clemmensen reduction. Correct? So that time you would need a reaction where it is a basic medium. For those two purposes, to make it a milder condition as well as to make it in the basic medium, Wolff-Kishner reductions are actually important. Okay, so this reaction is slightly less violent than the Clemmensen reduction, and this also takes place in the basic medium. Okay, it's Wolff-Kishner reduction. You have also heard, I think, this name, if not the mechanism, but at least you have heard this reaction. So what
Yes,
do we?
sir.
Yes. What do we take in this reaction? We take mostly, again, we take the ketone. We use hydrazine in presence of NaOH, and we see that the reduced product has been formed. So what is the mechanism? The mechanism is first, so when we take oxime and react with carbonyl carbon, it forms what? When we take hydroxylamine and react with carbonyl carbon, it forms oxime. When we take hydrazine and react with ketone, and react, when we take hydrazine and react with ketone, it forms hydrazone. Okay, like hydroxylamine to oxime, hydrazine to hydrazone, and semicarbazide hydrochloride to semicarbazone. You have also maybe heard about those things. So nothing but this double bond will react with this C double bond O and form a C double bond N bond. This is what it will form, and it will be dehydration, means one molecule of water will be gone. So to form the hydrazone. Now in this hydrazone, if NaOH is used, base, so this base will take up this proton, this bond will come here, and this bond comes here. So you generate a negative charge on carbon, like here, and you form a N double bond, NH bond. Okay. This negative charge takes a proton from water. You generate water in the first step, or also this NaOH will be dissolved in water. So you have the water in the medium. This negative charge takes proton from water to form this one. Then again you have NaOH in the medium. So this NaOH will take another proton that is there. So this bond comes here, and this CN bond now breaks, so that you get nitrogen, N triple bond N, that is nitrogen, that forms in the medium. Okay, and then CH minus, which again takes a proton from the water to get RCH2R. So basically from RCOR to RCH2R is the reduced product. Now it forms nitrogen in the reaction medium, which is a gaseous product. So this gas will evolve and will go out. So evolution of this gas actually shifts the reaction more towards the right hand side, towards the product formation. Okay, that is also the driving force for this reaction to take place. Okay, clear? It's very simple, nothing. So you just add one molecule of NH2 hydrazine to form the hydrazone derivative, then 2 times this proton will be gone and you have nitrogen gone out. So that you have negative charge here, take a proton and then it forms this RCH2R. But again I am telling, when you when you practice at home, do practice by writing. Okay, just looking at it once may not register it in your mind. So once you see that and close the book, everything, and then write it in a book, in a notebook, then it will stick to your mind. Then you can do it without looking at the book. Then it will stay also in your mind for a long time. Okay. Okay. And then we also have a third type of reaction, which is also very mild. It is milder than the previous one. So this use the Raney-Nichols based reduction. You already know that Raney-Nichols, these are used for mainly for the C double bond C bonds, Raney nickel and palladium charcoal. Those kind of reagents are used for the reduction of the C double bond C bonds, but this could also be used to reduce C double bond O by using this dithiol ligand that we have it. Okay, so basically thioketal or thioacetal formation. So basically this reagent reacts on thioacetal or thioketal or cyclic thioacetal and thioketal based products. Okay, this reaction mainly works on those. So in that case, what to be done? We can take a ketone or aldehyde, react it with this kind of thiols. You know already addition of thiol, how does it take place? We have already seen that. So you take dry HCl, then it forms this thioacetal or thioketal, I mean cyclic thioacetal or thioketal. Now when it comes from C double bond O to C single bond SS, this bond strength has decreased a little bit because CO bonds are strong compared to CS bond. Okay, and then now the electron transfer from this Raney nickel to this carbon becomes easier. So this Raney nickel now can transfer the electrons to this carbon very easily, like in the previous case. Okay, so you take hydrogen in Raney nickel and then it will be reduced to CH2 group. Okay, it will also form this CH3 and nickel sulfide NiS. Okay, so it has this reaction has a good application. For example, this kind of carbohydrate moiety, not carbohydrate, this kind of the cholesterol type of moiety, the A and B ring. These are basically constructed constructs the cholesterol type of moiety, the A ring and the B ring. Now here this carbonyl carbon can be easily reduced without affecting this double bond. So first react this one with this dithiol to form this cyclic thioketal, and this then use Raney nickel in presence of hydrogen to reduce this one to form this compound. Okay. Okay. So these are some of the metal based metal or hydrogen based reduction reactions. Okay, so up to this much everything is fine, understood, clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have almost come towards we have almost covered this much. So now let's summarize in terms of different functional groups. For example, we have many different functional groups. Now let's consider one by one how do we reduce them. For example, aldehydated ketone, what kind of reducing agent would you choose? We know it is sodium borohydrate, correct? For ester, we know sodium borohydrate does not react, so we must use lithium aluminum hydride. What about amide? For amide also, definitely the reactivity order is this one. Aldehyde is more reactive than ketone, then ester, then amide. Why ester is more reactive than amide? Because nitrogen lone pairs, they can come, they can be given more easily. Oxygen is more electronegative than nitrogen, so nitrogen can give away its electron very easily to make this CN bond a larger amount of double bond character. That means the electrophilicity of this carbon is even less compared to the ester, correct? Because in carboxylate, this is a negative charge, so this is constantly in resonance, correct, in conjugation. So that means the double bond character of these are mostly equivalent, I mean similar to these two, because these are not in a negative charge but in a resonating hybrid structure, correct? So this carbon is then least reactive among all. So we know for this one, for amide also we can use lithium aluminum hydride. But then what to do for carboxylate? How do we reduce carboxylate, or let's say carboxylic acid? That is a big question. Can you reduce carboxylic acid by lithium aluminum hydride? What is your answer? Can anybody answer? What do you think? Can we try to reduce carboxylic acid by lithium aluminum hydride?
No, sir.
Okay, that is a correct answer, but do you know why?
Sir, because the acid will react with lithium aluminum hydride and liberate hydrogen gas.
Yes, perfect. Very good answer. This is the reason that generally we will not use lithium aluminum hydride for this carboxylic acid reduction. Okay. So, okay. So then this is the reactivity order, and these are the reducing agents. We will see what we use for this one after this slide. Okay. So generally this kind of reducing agents and some sequence of reactions are used to produce many different pharmaceutical drugs. For example, synthesis of salmeterol, that is anti-asthma drug, that are synthesized by using this kind of reagent. For this drug to be synthesized, generally you start with this kind of compound. Okay, this has to be also made, but that is not important in these circumstances. So let's start with this starting material and then reduce with sodium borohydride. You can see that there is an ester moiety, there is a ketone moiety. This is not amide, this is just ketone because it is not, nitrogen is not directly connected. So definitely the ketone will be reduced, but the ester will not. So then here you get the OH. You got the OH. Okay. Now this pH to CH, CH to pH, sorry, CH to pH group can be reduced by reducing with hydrogen. So they will form toluene. Okay. And it will form NH2. If you reduce with palladium charcoal with hydrogen, then these groups will be deprotected. So this kind of chemistry you will learn when this protection deprotection chemistry will be taught. Then you will understand why in the first place we put this one and now how we are removing this. This chemistry will be taught little bit in a later classes, but now I am just giving a brief introduction of this. So this is the benzyl group, CH2PH group. This can be reduced with palladium charcoal in presence of hydrogen, and then you can form toluene and it will form NH2. Both of them will be removed. So you form NH2, and now if you use this kind of intermediate, reagent, this NH2 will then react with this C double bond O like an oxime, like an SIF base formation. These are called SIF base formation, like we saw in the hydrazine to hydrazone formation or oxime formation case, like the removal of water. Similarly, and then again hydrogen in presence of palladium charcoal will remove that N double bond C double bond. Okay. So this NH2 will then react here to form N double bond C, and that N double bond C can be reduced again with palladium charcoal in presence of hydrogen to form NH single bond CH. Okay. So then we get this compound from these two compounds. Clear? Understood or not? Then what happens? We have this ester moiety. Okay. So that can be reduced with lithium aluminum hydride. Of course, I think this OH has to be protected before that, but for the simplicity of this case, we have not shown that protection deprotection here, but they has to be protected. So then this ester can be reduced with lithium aluminum hydride to form this OH and this compound. So this compound is called salmeterol, which is an anti-asthma drug. Okay. So the main purpose of this sequence is to show that this kind of reducing agent are very important to make some of these drugs. Okay. Okay, some more small examples is like if you have ketone and nitro group. We have seen some of this previously also. If you reduce it with sodium borohydride in presence of ethanol, you will see that only the ketone has been reduced to form this OH, but the nitro is remained unaffected. But if lithium aluminum hydride is used, then actually both will be reduced. Okay. Okay. This slide is very important. Okay. Please pay attention, and many times it comes also in the exam. So so in this case, the reduction basically we will show here two different types of mechanism for ester and amide. As I said in the last slide here, that esters are reduced by lithium aluminum hydride. You know already that one. I said now that amides are also reduced by lithium aluminum hydride, but their reduction mechanism, the mechanism of action for the reduction is not same. It is different. Okay, and that will give you some crucial clue also. So now we will talk about reduction of amides. So you take an amide, CONH2, take lithium aluminum hydride. This double bond O will be replaced with CH2, CH and CH. Okay. So first let's see again how this reduction takes place with this ester. So in case of ester, one of the hydride reacts here. The lithium plus first coordinates here, and then this lithium gets exchanged with AlH3 as we have seen. Then this bond breaks and OR minus leaves. Here we have not shown that part, but just we have seen this one. But it is eventually same. Okay, it goes by tetrahedral intermediate. So to form the aldehyde, this we have already discussed that in the first place it is ester. If you add just one hydride, then it comes to the aldehyde. But when we take this lithium aluminum hydride, it does not remain in this aldehyde, but it although goes to the reduced state, CH2, I mean the 3-degree alcohol state. But if you use dibyl hydride, then it actually remained in this aldehyde state. We have already learned that one. Okay. So now this aldehyde, which again takes another molecule of hydride to form this O minus and 2H. Okay, AlH3, this step I have shown here now. Okay, so it will basically connected with this AlH3 minus to fulfill its, the vacant p orbital of the aluminium. You know that. And now if you hydrolyze in presence of acid, this bond will be break and it will form OH. Correct? You remember this. This we have already discussed last class. Okay. Now let's see how the reduction happens with the amide. So the first step is same again. The hydride will react with this carbonyl carbon, and this O minus will pick up this Li plus to form this one. Okay. Now, so this is the tetrahedral intermediate or the iminium ion. So this will now pick up again, this OLi bond will pick up with will react with this AlH3 minus to form this Al minus and H3 plus. Now in this situation, like here, this bond comes, this bond opens up. In this case here, this is not possible. This bond cannot come, and see N bond cannot break so easily. This is not a very good leaving group, so it does not break very easily. Instead, what it does is this lone pair now comes here. Okay, so that this bond actually breaks. Okay, so now if lone pair comes, you form a double bond here. So it forms RC double bond NR and H. So now then this again forms then positive charge if these two are alkyl groups. Now another molecule of hydrate reacts here, so that the charge becomes neutralized, so that you get RCH2NR. Okay, so this is the mode of reduction of lithium aluminum hydrate for ester and for amide. Okay, in case of ester, you get salt of 3-degree alcohol. I mean, these are actually primary alcohol. This is primary alcohol because you have only one arm. So you get primary alcohol, but in this case you get basically an amines. You get amine. The OH actually lives here. Okay, so you get amine. The OH does not stay here anymore. It leaves. Okay. Okay, so now tell me these two mechanisms are clear or not, because this is very crucial. If you understand this, then later stage there will be no problem at all. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, O group lives, but why not NR group lives in that? Why does do not follow the same mechanism? Like one live when the oxygen lone pair comes onward, but in the second case, it does not live. NR2 group does not live. What is the reason behind?
Yeah, so in this case, what happens is that, so this OAL bond it forms, in this case also it forms, as I said, but then this OR, which is a good living group actually, okay, compared to NR group. So in this case, actually this can live very easily, but in this case, it does not break this OAL bond because this affinity is even better, and this OAL actually takes up this oxygen, and this lone pair which is competing, because the bond moment is towards this way, because it has lone pair and it wants to give away the lone pair. So in this case there is a competition between NR2 and the OALH3, and it appears that this OALH3 is a better living group than the NR2. So that is why this lone pair comes here and this bond breaking becomes easier. Okay, and it does not happen to the other side. That is why in this case the path of the reaction changes completely. Okay, that is why in one case you get primary alcohol, but in this case you get an amine. Okay. Okay, so this is a small example in this case that yeah, so this is basically an amide. You take lithium aluminum hydrate, so it forms fast. I mean, this hydride reacts here, and then yeah, then actually after this hydrolysis, okay, no, this is a little bit different in terms of mechanism. When this intermediate is hydrolyzed, yeah, so actually it is coming to you as your question. So in this case the reaction goes all the way up to this NR2 stage, but if we can trap or if we can quench this intermediate in presence of acid, then actually the pathway changes. Okay, so for example, lithium aluminum hydrate can be attacked here to form this tetrahedral intermediate, but if this tetrahedral intermediate is immediately quenched in presence of acid, then actually your NME2 group removes, the NR2 group removes, because if we add acid, then what will happen? This bond gets broken. Okay, this OAL bond will be hydrolyzed easily to form OH, and NME2 it will form NME2 plus positive charge. The moment it forms positive charge, these lone pairs cannot be given to this system. So then this bond becomes brittle because NME2 plus is forming. So it becomes easy, very good living group. Okay, so that this lone pair will come and this will be left. So it will end up with an aldehyde stage. Sorry, it is not visible here, but it is C double bond O and H. Okay, so this is an aldehyde. So what is the conclusion from here? If you take this amide, react with this lithium aluminum hydride, and quench this tetrahedral intermediate in presence of acid, then it will end up being an aldehyde. Okay, instead of being an amine, it actually end up being an aldehyde. So these two examples, these two reduction of amines, actually you will find in the Clayden's book. So these are taken from the Clayden's book. Okay. It says here, stop the reaction at this iminium ion intermediate. Yeah, tell me.
Then aldehyde that produced can be converted into alcohol with LiLH4.
Sorry, I cannot hear. Yeah, tell me again one more time.
The aldehyde that is produced can be reduced by LiLH4 further.
Yeah, so basically what we said that this tetrahedral intermediate is hydrolyzed at this stage. The moment you hydrolyzed, this LiAlH4 is not actually active anymore. Correct? So they will be first take this, all the hydrates that is left will be reacted with the acid. So this hydrate will not be available to reduce this aldehyde anymore the moment you hydrolyze it. Correct? So that is why this, of course, this, I mean, if you isolate this product and then reduce with LiAlH4, it will again go back to the CH2H. But if you have put water, then this LiAlH4, as I mentioned, these are also very good base. So this hydride will pick up the proton from this acid. So this hydride will not act as the nucleophile. It will pick up the acid and gets quenched. Okay. Yeah, so that is why it says here, stop the reaction at the iminium ion intermediate, followed by hydrolysis produces aldehyde from amines. Okay. So in this case, you get amine, but if you hydrolyze at this stage, you get aldehyde. Clear?
So what is the reason of this? Like what
Which
is the
one?
difference? What is the difference between last and this method? Like why does it give aldehyde and not
Yeah. So basically what I said, in this case, you just take this amide, okay, and you take lithium aluminum hydride and carry out the reaction until it finished, until it ends up at this stage. So then you get the amine. But if you do not allow this reaction to come up to this step, but if you quench at this stage when it forms the tetrahedral intermediate, then you will get the aldehyde. Okay. So if I allow this again to come back to go all the way to the amine step, then it will also go to the amine step. But if I allow this step, this reaction to quench at this step, then it will form this aldehyde. Got it? So basically nothing but actually is the same reaction. In one case, in this case, we are hydrolyzing before finishing the product. In the previous case, we are finishing the reaction. Got it? Clear? Okay. I suppose it's yes. Okay. Okay. So this is the last reaction that we'll be learning today. So I asked one question that if you have carboxylic acid, how do you reduce that? Correct? So the process by which we can reduce carboxylic acid efficiently is by using this BH3 gas. Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, during this hydroboration reaction, that BH3 remains as B2H6 as a dimeric form. That is because boron has a vacant p orbital. When it stays in this kind of form, basically it forms 3-centered 2-electron bond. That also you will be learning in inorganic section. And that is how boron's vacant p orbital gets filled. Okay, partly gets filled. Okay, that is why it remains in a dimeric form. But how do we convert this B2H6 into BH3? We can keep this in the ligand form by complexing with ether. like diethyl ether or tetrahydrofuran, okay, or dimethyl sulfide. What happens to them? They have these lone pairs, no? Oxygen has lone pair. Tetrahydrofuran, it also has oxygen in a 5-member ring. That also has a lone pair. Dimethyl sulfide, sulfur has a lone pair. These lone pairs are donated to the vacant p orbital of this BH3. That is how they form complex, and they remain in the BH3 form, like this, BH3.OAT. OAT hold 2, actually it will be etherate. It's a mistake, okay? Make it hold 2. So now, when you take this carboxylic acid, you take BH3OAT hold 2, then it will reduce this carbonyl C double bond O to CH2. Okay. How does it happen? What is the mechanism? First mechanism I said already, that lithium aluminum hydride we cannot use. So you said already that they will pick up this proton and remove hydrogen gas and it forms a salt. This carbonyl carbon's reactivity decreases, so it becomes very less reactive for lithium aluminum hydride. So what will happen if we use BH3? What happens is that this lone pair from the oxygen now coordinates to this BH3. That you can think of a negative charge here. This negative charge is donated to this boron center. Okay, and all this hydrogen will be can go by reacting with this hydrogen, this OH. So hydrogen will be gone. 3 molecules of this can react with this boron center. So it forms a triacyl borate, okay, which is very reactive in nature. Now here another molecule of BH3 then gives this hydrate to here, and then it will form the boric acid, okay, to form this reduced product. Okay, if it is not clear, let me tell you one more time. Let me repeat it. So first we have this carboxylic acid. Okay, now we take BH3. In this BH3, these are basically hydride in nature. This oxygen donates the lone pair to the vacant p orbital of this boron, and this hydride takes this proton, go as a hydrogen, gone. One molecule, and then you have BH2. Again another molecule of this comes, donate here another molecule of hydrogen. Like that you get 3 of them. So that is triacyl borate. Okay. In this case, in this intermediate, now you have more BH3 in the medium. Now you have this hydride that is present in BH3. That is now react with this carbonyl carbon, and this bond breaks easily because borate formation is quite stable. So this bond becomes a little bit weak. Okay. So that is how once this hydride is reacting here, this will go and then it will form basically O negative that can take proton from after quenching to form this RCH2OH. Okay, is that clear or any question?
Sir, please explain last step.
Okay, so after you form this one, formation of this is very clear, right? Just 3 molecule of this reacts with this to form this one. Now when it forms, this bond now becomes weak, okay, because boron oxygen bond is very strong, because oxygen lone pair would like to be donated towards the boron. So this bond becomes very weak. That is why it's called triacyl borate. So this part is coming from the borate and this is the acid. So now this carbon's the nucleophilic attack becomes very high. Electrophilicity of this carbon has increased. So now this hydride coming from the BH3 can easily attack here to form O negative, and this will go up. Okay. So another molecule of hydride also can attack here to form this OH. Okay. So basically this hydride can attack here to form this CH2OH. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Now, there are just two or three examples that I want to give here. So, BH3 can selectively reduce COOH in presence of ester or ketone. Okay. So, if you take this kind of a molecule where in one side you have COOH, in another side you have COOMe, and if you react with BH3, then in this case COOMe will remain as it is and COOH will form CH2OH. Okay, clear. In this case also, in presence of ketone, it can reduce the carboxylic acid group, because you can understand that this oxygen O negative has to coordinate with this BH3, and that is why only this one becomes selectively reduced by this BH3 to form CH2OH. Okay. Yeah, this example is very important, very interesting also. So if you have this kind of compound where you have one CO2ET, one CO2H, if you use BH3, then only this CO2H will be reduced. So this case CO2ET will remain intact and this will become CO2H. And if you react with acid, then trans esterification will happen. So this OAT group will be gone and this OH will react here. So you get a product where you have double bond O on the left side, because this double bond O is coming from the ester, right? But now if you have this compound, if you are reducing with lithium borohydride, which can reduce the ester mostly, okay, so then it will be reduced, the ester will be reduced easily to form this CH2OH. And again, if you add acid here, the trans esterification will happen. So this OH will react here and will form the lactone, the cyclic ester, where the double bond O is in this side. So basically one starting material using two different reducing agent, you can form an enantiomeric lactone. Okay, clear? Okay, so I think that is all. So is everybody understood today's thing, or it is a little bit difficult? It's okay, right? Oh. If you, in case if you did not understand or if you have questions left, you can ask me later also, or you can also send me email if you did not understood something. Okay?
Yes, sir, it is fine for now.
Okay, okay. Okay, good. So we will stop here for today, and